When you hear the words delivery drone, it's pretty easy to picture something out of science fiction, maybe a pizza magically appearing in your backyard. But what we're going to talk about today isn't some far-off future. It's a technology that's already solving very real, very urgent problems for communities right now.
Just think about that for a second. For a lot of folks, especially if you live in a rural or coastal area, a flooded road or just not having a car, well, that's not just an inconvenience. It's a wall between you and essential healthcare. And that's the core problem we're looking at here. And drones, they offer a pretty radical solution.
So how does this actually work? Well, this diagram lays out the basics. It's a really structured process. You have a healthcare worker who packs a prescription, it gets loaded into the drone at a central hub, the drone flies a pre-planned route, and then it carefully lowers the package right where it needs to go. This isn't a toy we're talking about. It's a high-tech, coordinated logistics system. And a system like this is actually part of a much bigger story. This isn't just about delivering one package. It's about a fundamental revolution in how we move, well, everything.
For decades, supply chains have been this kind of clunky patchwork of manual processes and disconnected systems. But we are smack in the middle of a massive shift. We're moving away from that old model and toward these intelligent, connected networks that can predict, adapt, and operate with an efficiency that, not long ago, was pure science fiction.
All right, so let's zoom in on the star of the show here, the drones themselves. What is it that makes this technology such a powerful new workhorse in this automated supply chain?
Well, the raw data really shows you just how powerful this tool is. And honestly, the numbers are staggering. In a warehouse setting, drones can count inventory up to 95% faster, with an accuracy rate of over 99%. And for that critical last mile to your house, delivery times can be slashed by 70%, all while using 94% less energy than a typical delivery truck.
And this, right here, is the bottom line. It's not just faster and more accurate, it's a whole lot cheaper. I mean, when you can shrink delivery times from days down to hours and cut costs by up to 60%, you completely change the whole economic equation, especially for those hard-to-reach, underserved areas.
Okay, so we've seen the impressive big-picture numbers, but what does this revolution actually look like on the ground? For a real community with real everyday challenges. Let's zoom in on Virginia's Eastern Shore.
So take a look at this map with me. The Eastern Shore is a peninsula, right? It's geographically cut off from the rest of Virginia by the Chesapeake Bay. You can see the main road, Route 13, kind of running down its spine. Now see those blue-hatched areas? Those are 100-year flood zones, which constantly threaten to cut off all those smaller local roads. And get this, count the pharmacies. There are only 7 for this entire huge region.
And the challenges here go way beyond just the geography. This region is officially a medically underserved area. And listen to this stat, because it's a big one. A full 50% of residents, that's half, say that transportation is the single biggest barrier to them getting healthcare. You combine that with higher poverty rates and fewer households with a car, and suddenly getting a simple prescription becomes a massive hurdle.
So this is the perfect setup, right? And this is exactly where the drone pilot program comes in. The results aren't just promising, they are, well, they're dramatic, and they're precisely measured. Okay, look at this comparison. It's just so powerful. On the left, you see the area a car can reach in 10 minutes. It's all patchy and fragmented, right? It's totally stuck following the road network. But on the right, that's the 10-minute travel zone for a drone. It's this huge, clean circle just radiating outward, completely ignoring roads, traffic, or floods. It just doesn't care. And the numbers back this up perfectly. In a critical 10-minute window, a round trip by car can only reach about 38% of the population. But a one-way drone delivery, it can reach 82%. That is more than double the number of people served, giving them rapid access right when it matters most. But here's where it gets really smart. To make sure this technology had the biggest impact, researchers went a step further. They created what they call a vulnerability hotspot analysis. Think of it like a data-driven map that pinpoints clusters of people who are most in need by combining things like their age, how far they have to travel, and, this is key, their risk from flooding.
So what did they find? This map says it all. The red dots, those are the high vulnerability hotspots. And where are they? They are packed right along the low-lying western coast, exactly the areas that are most likely to flood and are furthest from that main highway. This lets them be incredibly precise, making sure the drones serve as a literal lifeline to the most at-risk residents.
So, the potential here is just undeniable. But, like with any game-changing technology, it's not all clear skies ahead.
We have to be realistic about the challenges that still need to be tackled before this can go mainstream.
And the hurdles are pretty significant. You've got the big regulatory frameworks from places like the FAA that are still being written. Cybersecurity is obviously a huge concern. You have to protect the drones and the data they carry. Then there's the whole challenge of managing crowded airspace, not to mention the tech itself, improving battery life, and operating safely when the weather gets bad. These are all things being actively worked on right now.
So we end with this question. The story of Virginia's Eastern Shore proves that this is about so much more than just convenience. It's about equity, it's about resilience, and it's about providing a literal lifeline. It really makes you wonder, what other critical gaps could this technology fill, and what will we choose to deliver next?